It happened on a Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day where the sun shines without mercy, and the streets buzz with life but carry a strange kind of emptiness. I was sitting on a bench outside a bakery, sipping a lukewarm coffee, when I saw them, two worlds crossing paths in a moment neither would forget. What started as just another city day turned into something that still plays in my mind. I didn't expect to witness cruelty in such a casual form, nor did I expect to see humility win in silence. But I did, and if you listen close, you might feel what I felt. Because some moments don't just pass, they stay, they haunt, they teach. They were hard to miss. The couple, tall, fit, dressed in labels I couldn't pronounce. He had that slick back hair that always looks expensive. She wore sunglasses too big for her face and a purse that could probably pay someone's rent for 6 months. They stood by a black car that looked like it had never seen a scratch, laughing, posing, taking selfies. Across from them, at the edge of the sidewalk, was someone the city had tried to forget. A young woman, black, thin, visibly pregnant. Her belly round under a worn-out sweater that barely clung to her shoulders. She wasn't begging. She wasn't saying a word. Just standing there, one hand resting on her belly like she was shielding something too sacred for this cold world. And then it happened. The man looked at her, nudged his wife, and said something I'll never forget. "That kid doesn't stand a chance," he said, grinning. His wife burst into laughter, like he'd just delivered the punchline of a joke. She even pointed at that girl, that child in a woman's body, as if her pain was entertainment. I watched her eyes. The pregnant woman didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She just stared ahead, like she'd heard it all before. Maybe she had. Maybe those words had been said to her more times than kindness. I felt a tightness in my chest. I'd seen unfairness in my years, but this felt different. There was no shouting, no scene, just a clean slice of cruelty wrapped in a smile, and no one else noticed. Or maybe they didn't want to. The world moved on around them like nothing happened. But I saw, and I wasn't the only one. Out of nowhere, a man crossed the street, mid-50s, maybe 60, wore jeans, a button-up shirt, and the kind of calm that comes from seeing too much. He didn't say a word. He just walked past the couple like they didn't exist and approached the girl. He carried a small brown bag and a bottle of water. He handed them to her with a nod. She took it slowly, almost confused. The couple kept laughing behind them, as if this was just a scene in a play they didn't believe was real. But something about that man's presence felt grounding, like he wasn't just helping. He was there for a reason, and I had a strange feeling the story wasn't over. The man turned around then, not aggressively, just enough to face the couple. His voice was calm, but you could feel the weight in it. He looked at them like a teacher would look at students who had just failed a moral exam. "That child may be born with nothing," he said, "but I've seen children like that grow up to change the world. And I've seen money turn people into ghosts of themselves." The couple didn't know what to say. The woman took off her sunglasses. The man crossed his arms, but the laughter stopped. Silence crept in. The kind of silence you feel in your bones. That stranger's words didn't yell, but they echoed. You could tell. It hit them. He turned back to the woman then, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. And then came the part no one expected. He said her name. Not hey, not miss. He knew her. He said, "Jasmine," and her eyes filled up, not with fear, not with shame, but with something like recognition. He told the couple, and whoever else was listening, that Jasmine wasn't just some girl on the street. She had been a nursing student, one of the brightest in her class. She dropped out not because she failed, but because her mother got sick, terminal. She left school to care for her, full-time. No support, no help. Her mother passed away last year. Then her boyfriend died in a construction accident just months ago. And here she was, alone, but not invisible, not to him. That man, the stranger, revealed something else. Jasmine had once taken care of his wife during a hospital stay. A nurse in training, she had stayed late, volunteered for the shifts no one wanted, and held his wife's hand when no one else did. "She saved my wife's life," he said, "and now I'm here to make sure she and her child get a second chance." The millionaire couple looked stunned. Not dramatic, movie scene stunned, just human. The man looked at the ground. The woman took a step forward but stopped herself. I watched the tension break, like a thread had snapped, and all the noise of money, pride, and ego had fallen to the floor. There was a long pause after that. You could hear the street again. Cars, chatter, the wind brushing through the trees. The couple looked at each other, like they didn't recognize themselves for a second. The man reached into his pocket, pulled out a wad of cash, and walked toward Jasmine. She shook her head gently. "I don't want pity," she said. "I want people to remember we're all human." Her voice was quiet, but the whole street felt like it had stopped to listen. The man stood there, unsure of what to do. Then he nodded and stepped back. As they walked away, the millionaire couple looked different. Not poorer, not older, just quieter. I don't know what they said to each other later. I don't know if that moment changed them forever. But I do know this. They didn't laugh again. Not that day, probably not for a while. That street, where wealth met struggle, where cruelty met kindness, left something behind. A mark, a lesson. In my 60 years, I've seen fortunes built and lost. I've seen people rise from nothing, and others fall despite having everything. But what happened that day on that sidewalk reminded me of something simple. How you treat someone who can't do anything for you is who you really are, and no amount of money can buy that kind of character. Jasmine didn't scream. She didn't fight back. She stood tall, with dignity, with strength. And that unborn child? Maybe they don't stand a chance in the eyes of some, but from what I saw that day, I think they might just change the world. What would you have done in that moment? Would you have laughed, looked away, or stepped in? We all have a choice. Every day in the small seconds we think don't matter. But they do. They shape who we are. So next time you pass someone who looks like they've been forgotten, remember Jasmine. Remember that not all heroes wear suits, and not all miracles look like blessings at first glance. Sometimes they stand quietly on a sidewalk, carrying life in their arms and hope in their eyes. Kindness is free, and so is cruelty. Choose wisely,